Hey guys, this is Hannah and this is Bookworms Talk. And today we're going to talk about The Edge of Never by J.A. Redmerski. And this book is a story about a girl named Cameron Bennett who meets this guy, Andrew Parrish, on a bus on the way to nowhere. This book is so physiological and it makes you think. And if you liked Looking for Alaska, you'll like this, but not for the obvious reasons, but for the whole physiological aspect of it. And it makes you think about life and what living really is, how everyone expects things of you, and it's, do you want that? And this is your life, and live in the moments, and it's so thought-provoking. Cameron has a little bit of her own past, and there's reasons that she decided to leave home and just go, because everyone expected something of her. They expected her to go to college, they expected her to get a job and do this and do that, and it wasn't whether or not it would make her happy, but it was just everyone's expectations. And then we get to see the book part of the way through Andrew's head, this guy that she meets on the road, who he has this whole view of life on his own, and he makes her live. And they have this incredible friendship, and they're very open about talking about things that I would just be so closed off about. And they both have histories and things that have affected them in life, and it's so interesting to see their view on what life is and what living is. I'm going to start talking spoilers now, guys, because I don't really want to tell you what this is about in detail. I suggest you don't even read the synopsis, because all I can tell you is that this book's about a journey and discovering what life really is. And I don't want to give you guys anything beyond that, because I really don't want to spoil you, because I didn't know what this book was about going into it, and it made it that much more incredible. It's a journey of two people figuring out what living really is. And that is the best way I can tell you what this book truly is about. Yeah, so I'm going to start talking spoilers now. I suggest you read it. It's one of my favorite books I've read. It is up there in my top 4. I have never been so emotionally fucked by a book before. Thoroughly emotionally fucked. This Damon guy, I kind of thought I could see that thing, with them, because she seems to understand him more than Natalie does. But then he beats the hell out of this guy, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I was out of line, but that's sort of sweet, and he's being protective of her. And then even when he said that he had a thing for her since 7th grade, I was still even okay with him at that point. But then when he forced himself on her, I was like, no, you're not okay anymore. You crossed a line. And Natalie just totally believes him. I'm like, you've been friends with her since 2nd grade. I have one of those friends that I've known since infancy, and if that were ever to happen, oh my god. Oh, and Cameron likes Muse, A++ in my book, one of my favorite bands. Some of my favorite classic rock songs, because I'm a big classic rock kind of girl. I love the Eagles, I love the Rolling Stones. So I really identified with the music choice, and I knew all but maybe 1 or 2 of the songs, and I looked them up and I loved them instantly. Literally, down to the flavor of Pop-Tarts they would eat, down to the favorite music they would, and then the Civil Wars, like everything. I'm like, okay, we're the same person, quite literally. And then Andrew lives in the island that I go to every summer. I live in Houston and Galveston. I go there all the time. Spring break, in the winter to walk the beach, and I knew the street they were talking about on 53rd. I'm like, this is crazy. I even watched the same TV shows they watched, like The World's Dumbest. Oh yeah, and he has my dream car. And then on the road trip, I go on road trips every year. I've gone through all the states that they were in. I was right along with them there, because I knew exactly what they were looking at. So with Cameron's story about Ian, I was like, okay, this is really sad, but I didn't shed a tear for her. And then Andrew's story with his dad, I was shedding a tear not even the first paragraph in. So when that creep corners her in the bathroom and she's screaming, and I'm just like, okay, you're gonna get raped and you're gonna die and you're gonna end up on one of those really bad TV shows on True, and it's just gonna be bad. It's gonna be so bad. And then Andrew, out of nowhere, just comes and saves her, and I'm like, where have you been then? When she was talking to him about crying, and then he admits to crying when he watched The Notebook. There is no judgment there, my friend. I cry every time. One of the cutest scenes in this book was when they were on the roof of the car, and when Cam kind of admitted to wanting to have a one-night stand, and then Andrew's like, no. And she's humiliated, so of course she runs to her room. And then he stops her and says that she's not the kind of girl that he could only sleep with once. We were very open talking about sex and anal sex, and I'm just like, I feel we're talking about it to you guys. And then Cameron said, thank you, Andrew, for making me feel alive, and he's like, everyone needs it once in a while. She's like, no, that's not what I said. Thank you for making me feel alive for the first time. And then Cam had this moment where she thought the difference between loving someone and being in love with someone, and then she's like, I don't think I was in love with Ian, and she said it out loud. Because when she's around Andrew, she doesn't think of him anymore, and you just can't stop thinking about someone that you were in love with. And another one of those times, it seemed to be happening so much in these books that I'm reading, he sleeps on the bathroom floor with her because she's drunk and was throwing up all night, and we saw it from his view, and he's just like, I said I would sleep anywhere with her, and I meant it. Cameron never cried for herself. Since the day that Ian died, she hasn't cried about it. But then when Andrew's dad dies, and he is so closed, and they cry together, she cries for him. And then Andrew yells at her and says, just tell me what you want, don't be afraid of it, you just say it out loud. If it doesn't feel right, you deal with the uncertainty later, because guilt's a bigger bitch than any of it. It was the argument that needed to happen. I have a lot of really beautiful quotes from this book that they were so beautiful and physiological and just everything all at once, and I have this one in particular that I wanted to make sure to show you guys because it's true in every aspect. The heart always wins out over the mind. The heart, although reckless and suicidal and a masochist all its own, always gets its way. And then they go to Galveston and they make this plan about how they're gonna go on the road, and it's not gonna be over, it's not gonna end. But you get this sinking feeling that something's gonna happen. And when we talked with his mom from his perspective, and I said to myself, she said 8 months, I shut the book. I pushed it away from me, and I started crying because I thought he will have cancer. Watch it happen. I didn't read The Fault in Our Stars yet for this reason. And watch this happen, and I'm too deep into it. With like 50 pages left, I can't stop. And he has a brain tumor like his father, and he starts seizing, and then when he's in the hospital, and they're saying it doesn't look good and that it's pretty much too late, and he asks her to sing Dust in the Wind, and they were talking before how that would be the song that he would choose to die to, that it sounds like death, and it's just the best way to go would be to listening to that song, and he asked her to sing it, and she's like, I'm never singing that for you, don't you ever ask it. In his letter, it took me a solid 10 minutes to get through reading his letter that he gave his mom when he slipped into the coma, and he told her, if I don't make it, you need to give this to Cameron. And it was the most beautiful letter I've ever read, and I was like, he can't die. And then it goes 2 months later, and she's in Wyoming, and she's talking about the grave, and I'm just, then he touches her shoulder, and I have never been so emotionally fucked over by a book in my life. I thought Broken was sad. I thought Looking for Alaska was sad. Nothing compares to what I felt then, because I had all of this to get to love Andrew. She was his reason to keep living, and he was her reason to start. I knew there was a sequel, but then I thought, because he taught her to live, right? And so she could continue and go off and then find somebody else like he said that he wanted her to do in his letter. And then he said that I would have loved to have married you and had babies. I heard pregnant sex was great. And then she got the tattoo that matched up to his, and then she's pregnant, and that's what he said before that he wanted for her and for them, and then he proposes to her, and then it ends with Andrew being so sarcastic, and he's just like, let's have pregnant sex. I heard it's great. This book changed my outlook on a lot of things, and it made me want to live more, and it made me think about why I do things, and if it's just because people expect it of me. And to do things that you're uncomfortable about because it's a part of living. Live in the moment is just, even if it means getting on a bus and going with no destination at all, it's something that's out of the box. I want you guys to recommend this to your friends, but try not to tell them about the brain tumor or that it's sad at all. Don't even say that. Just say, it's a story of these two people's journey, how to live. And because it was such a shock to my system that I didn't see it coming at all. And I like to think that I'm pretty good at telling when those things are gonna happen, but I didn't. And that's what made it all the more surprising and painful and beautiful. And I want more people to know about this, but don't spoil it for them by even telling them that it's sad, because I think they'll thank you for it afterward. This book is a treasure, it really is. And it's one of those that I want to reread and skip the pain and then read the end because it was so beautiful. God, his entire letter is the most quotable thing ever. I like how they had all of the bands and the songs, because I literally went through and I would listen to the song as it's sung or as we're supposed to hear it, and it made you feel so part of the story, and I loved that whole idea and concept behind it. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time on Bookworms Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed The Edge of Never. It was one of my personal favorites. It's life-changing and it gives you a whole new outlook. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Welcome to the hotel.